Hi, this is Dave Thomas, your relationship coach at Truly Healthy Relationships from day one. You know, it can be real tricky trying to determine if a relationship is going from a deal maker phase, where two people are actively building a life together or a relationship between themselves, to a deal breaker phase, where someone has to decide to get up and leave that relationship because it's going no further, it's not advancing, or at the very least, it's not going anywhere that they feel comfortable going. One way you know is when two people do not share the same life values between themselves. Now, sometimes you also hear life values being referred to as core values or as shared morals. Regardless of what terminology you use, it means the same thing. It's the collection of beliefs, the ideas, the customs, and the habits that essentially go into making us who we are as individuals, and they play a vital role in defining the quality of life that we attain. But in the context of a relationship, it gets even bigger than that, because it's going to also help determine how well we relate to our mate in that relationship as a couple. When our life values are not consistent with those of our mates, we can have serious trouble. We can wind up walking what I like to call as a forked path. This is a path where essentially we're in a relationship together, yes, but wherever it is that relationship is going, we are not going there together, ideologically or morally, because how we feel about things, how our perspectives sit, are just too different from one another to be compatible. When you start seeing this in a relationship, it may be a deal breaker and time to look elsewhere for something that's more conducive to who we are as individuals. Another thing is behavioral patterns. Behavioral patterns are critically important because really it's the patterns in someone's behavior that tells you who they are in actuality. I mean, this is one of those situations where the old adage of action speaks louder than words definitely apply. I'll give you a good example. You always hear people talking about how much they hate drama, just hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. Yet their behavioral patterns show that not only they're in the middle of drama all the time, they're often the ones behind it. As a matter of fact, they could be their own one-man or one-woman drama factory, producing some of the best drama anyone's ever seen. Or how you hear people talk about the way they feel about being lied to. Can't stand being lied to. Don't like liars. Yet their patterns demonstrate that they're so dishonest that you can hardly believe them when they tell you what their name is. You see, you have to look at the patterns, because the patterns are like roadmaps in a relationship. They tell you where that relationship came from if you haven't figured that out already. They tell you where you are in that relationship, and will definitely tell you where that relationship is going. Look at the patterns, pay attention, learn, and then make the right decisions. Another situation is when someone is behind an action that is so bad and so abominable that it can never ever be repeated again. Even if they only do it one time, it can never be repeated again, and that can equate to a deal breaker. You can't allow that. If something happens to you, and this could be anything from physical abuse to emotional abuse to instances where I've heard of mates stealing from one another, compromising each other in some way, is so bad, is so egregious, is so wrong, there is no way that could be repeated again. That just might be a deal breaker, and definitely not a deal maker. And the last thing is anything that requires you to stop loving yourself. This is huge, and actually ties the previous three things all in together. This is huge. Anything that requires you to drop your self-dignity, to drop your self-respect, to abandon your own self-worth is an automatic, irrevocable deal breaker. Because once you stop loving yourself, you have nothing to give that relationship. And once anyone in that relationship requires you to stop loving yourself, they have nothing to give to that relationship, and that relationship is essentially dead. Deal breaker. But what we want are deal makers. Look for the good patterns. Look for instances where people are building up our self-esteem, are encouraging us to love each other and to love ourselves. Anyway, I just wanted to share those things with you. Again, my name is Dave Thomas, your relationship coach from Truly Healthy Relationships from day one. Please go and visit my page by the same name. Hit the like button and show a little love. All right? Thank you so much for your time.